The leaders in BBL Supercoach are incoming. Running in off the back fence to give you the ultimate insight to help you dominate your mates and climb up in the rankings. You're now listening to the Insight BBL Show with your hosts, Brain and Horse.
G'day guys, welcome back. You're watching another Insight BBL show, position analysis, and we're talking the batsmen today, the players you normally stay away from. So this is going to be an interesting episode, but we'll try and find some diamonds in the rough for you. Horse, how you going, mate? Any batsmen that are sneaking out at you?
A couple, mate, but as someone who was not allowed to bowl when I played cricket, the holding the stick was something that I had to do well, otherwise I was never getting picked. So looking forward to talking about the bats.
Where'd you bat, mate, when you were playing?
I was an opening batsman. So,
Nice.
Yes, I wasn't by any means a big hitter of the ball, but used to like using the pace of the ball to generate scoring for myself. And, yeah, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
Yeah, yeah. I like basically everything in cricket. I started off my cricketing career as a young guy being predominantly a batsman. And as I was growing up, I wanted to be like Brett Lee, so I just bowled pace and I was shit at it. So then I started bowling leggies, and then that just kind of took over. And then when you go up the grades quickly and you end up playing against adults at a young age, you end up just batting 9, 10 just because you're young. And I never really recovered from that. So I ended up just being a 9 or 10 for the rest of my career, and I just bowled leggies. And so it kind of worked out.
I'm going to tell you what, being an opening batsman, even if you go out early, it's not all bad. Because for those of you that have played cricket, that means you can hawk around the afternoon tea bench and you can get first dibs on all the cakes that have been made. So
yes,
as someone that does enjoy a pastry, it was one of my finer moments.
Yeah, jam scroll was me. They fucking had them at Campbelltown every single day as well. It was awesome.
Scones, Yep.
Well played. Guys, hit the like and subscribe if you like the content. Follow and review if you are listening to us on audio. We would appreciate the support. And if you want to jump in and you want to win some free stuff, you can join the Unlimited League. The code is 650202 on the screen, 650202. Supercoach Champions Ring for the winner. And also, thanks to our sponsors, our day one sponsors, the Standard Squeeze, they're giving away a prize pack, either a 4-in-1 or a combo pack, to the highest scorer in this league every single week for the whole season, which is great of them. So jump on in, 650202 is the code, and take us on and see if you can beat us. Now, of course, we're cooking up some good stuff in the Patreon. We've got all this exclusive content already in there for you, ready to join and ready to take your Supercoach game to the next level. So listen to this, I'm sure, very attractive American man talk about it.
Want to take your Supercoach game to the next level? Inside Fantasy Sports are bringing you exclusive content all year round, such as weekly expert Q&As, team, trade, and captaincy advice, statistical deep dives, priority podcast questions, and tons more. So what are you waiting for? Get full access to the experts. Go to patreon.com/Insight Fantasy Sports and subscribe to Insight Unlimited today.
Yes, Horse, let's talk premium batsmen to kick things off. We're talking about the guys that are 150K plus. And the most expensive batsman in the game at $218,000 is Steve Smith. Tell me why you can't. Clearly tests are the one thing.
Because he's playing test cricket, yeah. And if, like, we're breaking the bank already to get the likes of Short, Overton, Maxwell in your teams, we cannot consider Steve Smith, who, one, is a bat only, but two, he won't be playing till round 7 or 8. So got plenty of time to worry about getting him in at the back end of the season.
I'll tell you what, though, sneaky pod back end of the year, if he in round 7 could be a nice little 3-round flyer if you're trying to win your competitions or you're trying to find a bit of a pod. It could be the play. 123.3 was that average in that 4-game season from 2 years ago where he absolutely ruined me. Everybody jumped on him, and I didn't. So I'll remember that, take it to my grave. But yeah, can't do Steve Smith. Also, another person I can't do, Chris Lynn. It's crazy price, 197,000. I mean, he seems to be Mr. Consistent, though. Like, if you look at for a batsman only, he continues to get it done. Like, this is a price that he has earned through last year's performance. And if we go through his he averaged 67.7 across 7 games last year, Horse.
Mm-hmm.
And his scores were relatively decent. Like if we go through his scores, he scored 76. He got 91, 118, 132, and 52. And there's a couple of doubles in there, obviously. But he rarely missed.
No, he was pretty good, wasn't he? I can't justify picking a bat only at that price to start the year. So you and I were talking a bit off air, both in the off season before BBL started or opened and now. And is it the 10 top scorers or 9 of the 10 top scorers were bat bowl position players?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, you're looking at how many, and Andrew Langley uses this kind of terminology, is scoring opportunities. How many scoring opportunities are you going to get? Now, he looks at players on a double getting 2 scoring opportunities, but I actually take it one step further and I look at it as how many times or how many innings will this player have a scoring opportunity? Because if they're bowling and they're batting, there's 2 scoring opportunities right there. So for me, you're potentially getting 4 chances to score from an all-rounder that bats and bowls like a Tom Curran, as opposed to Chris Lynn, who will only get 2 opportunities to score even in a double game week.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's just way too much money for a batsman-only player that can nick off and get a good rock, and you've paid 197 for a 3. So no, too much risk there. Ollie Pope obviously missing round 1, unfortunately, for the strikers. He's on international duty, so he'll be back for round 2's double, though. Let's fast forward to round 2. You're not looking at him?
Not right now because of the next player that you're going to bring up. This guy has me very, very excited, Brano.
Go run with it then.
No, you've got the numbers, mate. I'll let you run with it because you're the one that brought it up, and I can't steal your thunder, but Finn Allen, my God, this is a player that I feel like we're going to be talking about a lot this season.
I think, and so Supercoach Guns and us put together a list of our top 5 batsmen, and we put it up on Instagram. It's up there somewhere. Finn Allen was number 1, and the reason why Finn Allen is number 1, let me rattle off some stats too. Now, obviously, we're talking T20 internationals here. We're not talking about just going and playing for Mumbai Indians or whoever it is in the IPL. We're talking about playing against international quality cricketers. And in T20 internationals, he has a batting average of 24.5, so it's not too shabby over 47 innings. But get this, strike rate of 158.6.
Oh,
nearly 160 runs every 100 balls at international level.
That's insane, isn't it? Like that's 1.6 runs per ball.
Yep. And look, he has been touted to be one of the crispest hitters of the ball people have ever seen. And, the stats back that up. He hit 99 fours and 78 sixes at international level. So he's hit
almost as many sixes as fours at international level.
Yep. And then we can go and have a look at just T20s, like List A T20s in general. He's played 125 T20s and obviously he's been around for a long time. 29.28 average. So basically a 30 average in T20 is elite. And he strikes the ball at 168.6.
Oh, shit. Yeah, right.
So this guy is not going to die wondering. And when you're batting at Optus Stadium for the most part, and in round 1, Finn Allen will be playing at, I think, 3:30 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. Perth time over there in game 1 on what's known to be a very flat wicket.
Against a Stars lineup that probably lack a little bit of firepower.
Yeah, I mean, when your opening bowlers are probably going to be Mark Steckety and Joel Paris, there's plenty to be excited about. And I cannot talk anybody out of a round 1 pod as an emergency bench option than Finn Allen playing in game 1. So he is a guy that will be a must-have in round 2. I honestly think that he'll be the top scoring batsman only in Supercoach this year.
I am currently playing with my side to try and get him in. Since you brought up those stats and looking at some YouTube highlights, do yourself a favor, ladies and gentlemen, go and watch the highlights because this guy, it'll make you rise to the top.
And, just to top it all off, if in case I haven't sold you yet, he has the 5th highest individual score in a T20 international, being 137. And in that game, he hit 16 sixes, which is the 2nd most amount of sixes in an innings in T20 international history.
And how many did Josh Brown hit in an innings last year?
Oh, fuck, 13? I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was like 11 or 12. But like, when you think about Josh Brown's knock, right, and how fucking amazing that was, I'd love to know how many Maxwell hit in that game where he got 200.
Yep.
Because I reckon it was probably close to 20. Like that's what you're getting from Finn Allen. You know, that kind of standard. If he pops off, he could be the ultimate pod and could set you apart. It's coming into a double as well, where everyone's going to be ripping their teams apart to get him. So you won't hear us talk about a player probably as long as we just talked about Finn Allen. That's how excited we are about him this year. So yeah, stay tuned. We'll be definitely all ears. Next one, mate, Shafane Rutherford from the Thunder. He will miss round 1, obviously, on international duty with the West Indies. A guy that we're not looking at to start, obviously, because of the Thunder's draw, but a guy that you probably could target at the back end.
The man known as Sir Everston Rutherford. Yes, I think we're going to target him at the back end of the year. This guy's an elite international T20 cricketer as well, Brano. But won't be here till round 2.
And unfortunately, probably the role, I'm not loving the role with the Thunder either. He probably bats 5 or 6 in this lineup, and he has obviously been known to be a elite finisher. So he's specifically in this team to be the finisher, which the Thunder struggled with last year.
In any other team, it would be an issue for me. But the Thunder struggled to bat out overs, which means he may get a good look before your 14th, 15th over.
I mean, they have addressed some of those issues now with David Warner there. They've, I feel like they're probably a little bit better, but even then, yeah, you're right. There's going to be opportunity for him for sure. Speaking of David Warner, the only other guy above plus 150K at this point, 152K, big fat no from me initially until I see something. I've bought David Warner in the last 3 BBLs. And every single time he has gone way under what I've paid for him. And I'd need to see something from him before I buy him.
Yeah. Yours is a big fat no. Mine's even bigger.
Yeah. Good shout. All right. We're on the same page with that. All right, guys. And the show, of course, is brought to you by Ryan from Astute Newstead. If your home loan rates are above 6.2%, maybe you want to buy your own home, you want to buy a first home, or you want to refinance and you want to get some stuff done around the house, and you can hit up Ryan from Astute Newstead for a no obligation cost-free inquiry. It doesn't cost you a thing. That's the best part about Ryan. He gets paid by the banks, so you're not going to have to fork out to work with him at all. Does it for you for free, doesn't pay a thing. And he'll negotiate with all of the big banks, but he's got up to 40 lenders on panel that can work with you to get you the best rate. So let Ryan do the heavy lifting for you. His link is in our link tree in the description below.
And just while we're talking about Hamo, congratulations to our man Ryan and his partner on the safe arrival of his little boy, little Freddie. Congratulations, mate.
Congrats, Hamo. Great news. We're going to have kids about 3 or 4 days apart by the sounds of things. So it's going to be fun. We'll have to get them to catch up and play at some point. Yeah, that's right. Let's move into the mid-ranges, mate. We're talking 100 to 150K mark. Laurie Evans is an interesting one, isn't it? Because he's shown us in previous BBLs that he hasn't had the role at Perth. He was batting 6, I think it was, at Perth. I can see him batting 4 for the Renegades this year. So there's a better opportunity for him to go large. Round 1 double. I
think you're right. When you're looking at the likes of Josh Brown, Fraser McGurk, Mackenzie Harvey, like Tim Seifert, he's not a bad bat, but you know, they're either like going on with it or they're going out cheaply, which means he may get a lot of overs to have a look there in the middle overs. Not a bad pod option for round 1. What's he priced at? 130K, is he?
Yeah, something like that. It's not the best price. Personally, I don't love it.
Especially for a bat only, but could be a nice pod option.
There'll be another guy that we'll probably prefer than Laurie Evans from the same team, I think, that we'll be talking about. But James Vince, mate, he'll be opening the batting for the Sydney Sixers with Josh Philippe, we would think. What are your thoughts on James Vince, mate? Like, the role's good.
Yep.
I'm not paying up for a batsman only at all that doesn't have a double in the first 2 rounds. That's probably the way I'm approaching it.
Spot on. He's a target for round 3.
And another target for round 3, Colin Munro. Probably same thing applies for him. We saw how large he went in round 1 last year when the Brisbane Heat had their triple game week. They have about 3 games in the first 3 rounds this year. So, you're probably not looking at Colin Munro until they come into that round 3 double.
No, with you on that.
What about Jake Fraser McGurk, mate? Because he is very well owned. I think he's 40% owned as a minimum. I think he's in the top 5 or 6 most owned players.
Yep.
The form for me is a concern.
It is. It is. So we've seen he got off to, I'm not going to say an absolute flyer, because in that T20 against Pakistan, he hit a couple out of the middle of the bat, and then he edged one over gully for 4, and then he went out playing some sort of shot where he tried to slap it over deep cover for 6 and got caught. That's the best he's looked in a long time, and he still only scored 20. He doesn't bowl. Yeah, he takes catches and he's a good fielder, but not at that price.
The shot that he got out on the other night was a shot of impatience. Like, I don't know, we're playing a T20. I get that, 100%. You're looking to score. It just doesn't look like he's got levels to his game yet.
No.
And that's the concern for me, is that, you see the best players, even the Glenn Maxwells, right, who seem to come off a little bit erratic. He's got gears. Yeah, and we're looking at players that have gears. We're looking at players that can kind of go in and out of different modes when they're batting. When it's needed at the start of the innings to take advantage of the power play, you're going hard at the ball. And, of course, Jake Fraser-McGurk in that instance was looking to go hard at the ball, so that's fine. But there's been instances in the past where there's been wickets falling around him, and he just wasn't capable of kind of just tucking it back in a little bit and kind of, reining it in and getting through that hard period. I haven't seen that from him yet. So I'd love to see him make this BBL his own, but I'm just a little bit worried at the moment that he's just got one gear, and when it comes off, he'll look fantastic, but he just doesn't have many more elements to his game yet.
I think you're spot on with that, Brano. We saw, and I keep going back to the T20 last night, was it? Which was Saturday night. And Australia were none for 50 off 3.1 overs. So they'd already gotten off to an absolute flyer. It's the quickest that they've ever gotten to 50 in a T20 international. There was no reason for that shot. They could have just worked around the ones and hit gaps, and still, the ball wasn't doing too much until Osama Mir, like he just looked unreal when he came on, but the shot that he went out to was just another shot that triggered a bit of a collapse, didn't it? So as soon as he learns to bat in levels, know when to go and know when to work his singles and rotate the strike and what have you, then I'll be looking at him. But right now, it's a big no.
Yeah, I think you meant Harris Ralph, not Osama
Harris
Mir.
Ralph, sorry.
Yeah, he was how good was he? I wish he was back with the Stars. I'd be picking him in a heartbeat.
Jeez, he's looked unreal.
He has looked good. But yeah, I think Fraser-McGurk needs to learn to get off strike. And another person who needs to learn to get off strike is Josh Brown. We may as well talk about him now. I much prefer Josh Brown and say 15K than I do with Jake Fraser-McGurk at this point. Do you agree?
Yes, but both of them are too risky for me.
I'm playing around with a Josh Brown template at the moment that I actually don't mind. So I think I can probably make it work and have him as a starter. And then obviously with the lower score dropping out, it kind of removes that risk potentially from that guy. And you could even, if you wanted to start a Matt Renshaw that we'll talk about a little bit later, or someone like that, you probably could, because if their score drops out, no harm, no foul, right? We get a bit of a free swing every single week. So that's why we're probably looking at batsmen only a little bit more this year than we would have in previous seasons. Now, Keaton Jennings, mate, I prefer Finn Allen, of course. We've just pumped up Finn Allen to no end. But if you wanted someone cheaper, Keaton Jennings, any interest there? You think he comes in at 117K?
No, I think he is a good T20 cricketer, yes, but not with the upside of the likes of Finn Allen, as we've just discussed. Aaron Hardy, who's going to come up in a DPP episode that we'll do at a later date. Ashton Turner, the list goes on with guys at Perth. He doesn't bowl. So you're relying on him basically scoring all of his points through the stick.
Yep. Yeah, spot on. I agree with you. Darcy Short, mate, obviously he has the round 2 double with the strikers. We know he's probably going to open the batting with Matt Short. You've got here in the notes, wrong Short.
Yeah.
I mean, no one is Matt Short, so that's a fair assumption. Not a fan of Darcy Short. He was pretty popular last year, but that was because he was about 60, 70K.
Yeah, you're right. When we're looking at the Adelaide strikers, the names that jump off the page at you are Overton, Matt Short, James Bazley at the moment, Fabian Allen, who won't be here until the double. Who else is there? Henry Thornton. So there's only a maximum number of players from the Adelaide Strikers that you're going to want to play. He doesn't fit into that top 4 for me.
Yeah, and you've also got Jordan Buckingham, who, if he lines up, he'll probably be very close to top. He'll be in the top 5 most owned players. So, yeah, it's tough, isn't it? You've got to pick your battles, and I just think maybe in round 1 there are some decent options we've talked about. Your Laurie Evans, if you want to go with the crowd with Jake Fraser McGurk and it comes off, great. If you want to go with Josh Brown, like all of these guys are on the double, so they get 2 cracks at it. Like you're smart to probably pick a batsman only that's going to get 2 innings in round 1 as opposed to a guy like your Keaton Jennings or, someone like that. So it's probably the way I'd look at it, mate. What about Jake Weatherald, though? Interesting. Like, he does bat at 5, which deters me. But fuck, his form at Sheffield Shield level. What, he's got 180 off 200 balls recently?
He almost wanted to run a ball in the Sheffield Shield. Just insane. Like, he's hitting the ball so well at the moment, but you just nailed it. Bats at 5, 6, won't bowl. There's nothing really too appealing about it. I haven't even checked his price. What's his price at?
Oh, like 110 or something. Let me try and find it.
114K.
Yeah, look, if he was opening the batting, you have me interested. Back when Jake Weatherald was opening the batting for the Strikers, way back when, probably 5 years ago.
Do you remember he used to open the batting with Alex Carey, and they were unreal opening together?
Yep, they were quality. But this is the shorts up the top now, and Chris Lynn at 3. So it's hard to break into that. So, unfortunately, not a guy I'll be looking at just due to the fact that I'm not looking for guys that are batting below 4 unless they're bowling for me. So that's the way I play Supercoach. Maxi Bryant, though, a guy that might not be batting 4. He might be batting 1 or 2 for the Brisbane Heat. And it's up, like we mentioned in the Wicketkeeper episode, it could be between him or Jimmy Pearson as to who replaces the names gone from me.
Josh Brown and McSweeney, who's on international duty.
Yeah, perfect. Good call. So, round 3 target more so than anything. I think you could probably wait. You're not really going to get hurt by a Max Bryant. But do you think if obviously McSweeney's with the test squad, do you think it's Max Bryant up the top?
I think it is. Yeah.
I think it's Pearson. But I think one of them will bat 5, one of them will open. And I'm not quite sure I'm not 100% sold on either way, but if he does open, he's going to be a guy that we're going to want in round 3, I think, as a potentially even a cash downgrade at that point, because he's coming in. What's his price at? Be like
102K.
There you go. Like, that could be a really nice little downgrade as a guy that you want to take a swing on, especially if his form's good. He has shown us glimpses in the past in previous BBLs that he can definitely swing a bat. So, I'm interested to see whether he can reclaim that position with McSweeney out and with Josh Brown over at the Renegades. So, plenty to consider there. But again, we just keep coming back to the fact that we don't really want a batsman only in our teams to start if they're not on a double. But we're probably going against that a little bit with one of these guys in this cheapies list that are 100K or less. Do you want to start with him?
I think so. It's Matt Renshaw. Talk to me, Nath. You brought up some stats the other day that, I was definitely surprised at, because I always saw him as a longer term or longer form player, but he averaged nearly 60 a few years back?
Yeah, not 60. He's definitely in the mid 40s. So basically, when we look at 5 of his last 6 seasons, so from BBL, where are we looking here? 14, BBL 7. Right, he averaged 47.4. Then he averaged 47.9. Then he had a down year and averaged 21.6. So he definitely is capable of having that down year. Then he averaged 47 and 42 before last year, only averaging 23. So we see there has been a couple of seasons that have been in the 20s, but for the most part, 4 out of his 6 seasons that he's played in the BBL, since Supercoach has been played anyway, he has averaged 42 plus. So looking at Renshaw, he is priced at a 23 right now. So essentially, you could be getting double his value if he gets back to that kind of 45s place that he's been at in previous seasons. And with obviously McSweeney moving on, I see Renshaw either opening or batting 3. I think he'll probably bat 3, which will just give him ultimate opportunity, I think. And he, there's plenty of opportunity for them. Brisbane Heat have the Stars. Again, we talked about Perth coming up against the Stars in round 1. The other team that the Stars play are the Brisbane Heat. And I really don't hate the matchup, considering their bowling seems a little bit weak at the moment. So Matt Renshaw is a guy that I'm very seriously considering as a bench bat option in preparation for round 3.
Has been making bulk runs at domestic level as well this year. So he's in some good form. Made a 72 only a couple of days ago against South Australia.
He's currently 125
as well.
not. So in the game that Jake Weatherall got 180, he's currently 130 not out.
Yep.
In that game as of tonight. So, yeah, he's seen the ball well. And we know Matt Renshaw is an international quality cricketer. He's played at test level. You know, he was a guy that only 1 year ago we were talking about as in the race for that opening batsman position. And whilst he hasn't lit it up, he's still very serviceable and quite good. And when you can get him at this price, I think you'd be silly not to at least consider him.
Spot on.
McSweeney somehow is sub 100K. Like if he comes back into contention, I'm going to buy him by round 3. Hopefully, for his sake, he stays in the test squad and he gets a bit of a run. I hope they don't bail on him too quickly. But if he's there, I'm picking him. Anything on Tom Rogers, mate? Talking stars, Tom Rogers opening.
Yeah, I have interest, but not enough to pick him, no. He did just get a 70-odd in the Sheffield Shield yesterday as well.
The one concern for me, initially I was thinking maybe Tom Rogers opens the batting. But he's been batting 5 for Victoria pretty consistently over the last 12 to 18 months. So do the Stars go with what worked last year or what seemed to work? Because he was actually quite good last year in patches. I think he went on a run where he scored between 50 and 70, I think 3 or 4 rounds in a row. But do they go with him at the top of the order there when he hasn't really been doing it that much over the last 12 months?
Who's the other option?
I mean, I don't think they can put him in the middle there. We already said that 3 to 6 for the Stars is so solidified that
unless, and this is almost like a swear word, but he stays at 5 and Stoinis opens.
Fuck! Don't do that to me.
Yeah, I don't like it, but it could happen.
I mean, speaking of Stoinis, we watched a game last night and he got dropped twice and bowled 3 overs. So probably the best role possible and still only scored 20 Supercoach points. So
that's right.
Not going to happen. No. Tom Rogers was one of those guys. He was that Josh Brown for me that might have been that free swing guy on a double, batsman only, see if he gets a knock at some point in round 1. But I just think that there's more of a chance that Josh Brown goes large over Tom Rogers. I'd rather pay the extra 40K difference between those two, so long as I can get the rest of my squad the way that I like it. Talk to me about Ashton Turner though, mate, because you're very high on Ashton Turner this year.
Is it 70K? Like, this is a international cricketer. He's coming back from an ACL, was playing T20s and one-day cricket with Australia, has made bulk runs. He's averaged, I'm going to have to dig up his stats because I don't want to talk out my behind, but he has averaged, if you beat me to it, go nuts.
No, this is all yours, mate. I was initially interested in Ashton Turner. I was looking at his Supercoach scores, though. I think he needs to bowl to be relevant. And unfortunately,
I think he might.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that's now a question mark with Cooper Connolly now up in the air as to what his status is going to be. I'm just a little worried that we start with Ashton Turner potentially, and then Cooper Connolly comes back round 2 for their double. And then we go, well, the reason I bought Ashton Turner is because he's going to bowl potentially, and now he's not. So also Ashton Turner being the captain, I find that he actually bowls himself less when he's the captain than when he does in teams that he's not the captain in. And I think we saw that from Glenn Maxwell last year as well. It's just like this tendency to not bowl himself anywhere near as much or in the right spots as to when they should, because they're wary of making sure they're making the right decision with the rest of their team first. But Ashton Turner's a very good leader and a very good captain. They missed him tremendously last year.
Yeah, they did.
I don't know. I'm not convinced he bowls just yet, but I tell you what, if he does, I'll be very excited, and he'll be a guy we'll be looking at in round 2 as a cash free up.
Keeping an eye on practice matches for sure.
Definitely. We're going to do plenty of practice match recap-based stuff as well. We'll probably do an episode or 2 recapping the practice matches over the fortnight before BBL starts. So looking forward to seeing some cricket finally. That'll be nice. Matt Harvey, mate. He's the next one. Obviously, absolutely smoking them at Shield level, and 130, I think it was, in the most recent game that he played, or the game before that. there's a chance he could line up in round 1 as well. Obviously, with Jacob Bethel on international duty, we probably see Mac Harvey slotting into that 5 role maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as a cash cow option, bat only, this is at 58K. It's probably somewhere you want to go. Like if he's going to bat at 5, he'll get some overs. He's been seeing them pretty well, and it's not that much of a risk. And you know what? Worst case scenario, the Renegades have a bye in round 3, I believe.
Yeah, they do.
Then, that's your loophole for round 3. So you can use it either way. I think it's a relatively low risk that you could take with some big upside.
The only issue I have, I love it. I think it's a really nice play for round 1. The only issue is, what are you going to do post round 1 when he comes out of the team and Bethel's back, and you've got a guy on the bench that you can't use, you can't make cash out of. Yeah, you can use him as a loop, but you probably already have your loophole options set on the bench to start with anyway. So it's kind of like you probably have to move him on. Unless
he makes runs and he stays.
100%. That's what you're probably hoping, is that he stays in the team. I personally don't see him staying past round 1. But if he does, you've got the round 4 double for the Gades then after that. So you'd be laughing.
What about your mate, Matto?
My mate. Okay. Yeah, I suppose you owe me a mate. So that's fine.
Who was my mate from the last episode?
Yeah, fair.
Tim Nielsen's son.
Yeah, Tim Nielsen's son. So Nick Maddinson and I are the same age, or I think there's 6 months difference. So we played all of our under 17s, New South Wales, under 19s. We're in the state squad together. Matto, the first memory I have of Nick Maddinson was he was a South Coast boy, and I went to Westfield Sports High School, and we played a game where we had to travel down to Albion Park, which is down like on the way to Shell Harbour, kind of way down south. And this is the first anyone's ever heard of this kid, and he came out of nowhere, and he hit 140 off about 70 rocks in this game. And everyone's like, who the fuck is this kid? Like, hitting the biggest sixes I've ever seen for a kid that was like 15, 16 years old.
Yeah, right.
And I think he got rushed up the ranks too quickly and probably just put in positions where he wasn't able to be his best. Like, he had a lot of pressure on him as a kid. Is like the next big thing. So I'm really hoping, that he can be that guy in BBL, coming back to BBL Supercoach. I'm really hoping he can be that guy that the Thunder need at 3. I see him batting at 3 for the Thunder. It's just the form's a question mark. I don't know when the last time was that he made a decent score in BBL.
Yep, I was going to say, because in Sheffield Shield, he made a 70 or an 80 last week.
Let me just, we've mentioned Sheffield Shield scores and all that kind of stuff a fair bit, but let me just remind you that our friend, he who shall not be named, Sam Harper, did he score the fastest ever Shield 100 about 2 weeks before BBL 13?
For the audio listeners, yes, he did.
Yes. And we proceeded to pick him, and he proceeded to shit right where we picked him. Wasn't nice.
Where you picked him.
Yeah, you didn't, did you?
Nope.
Well played, sir.
Thank you.
I think we finished the same. So
we
just
did.
A long way around to the same road. Yeah. But yeah, look, I think Matto's a really nice bench option. Do I prefer Matt Renshaw? Yes, just due to the double. That's pretty much it. But I consider them to be maybe the same player. I think Renshaw's probably a little bit better, but Nick Maddinson's a little bit cheaper. I think he comes in at 58K. So
58K.
You can do much worse. I think it's between Renshaw, Maddinson, Turner. For me, out of those 3, I think those are the 3 guys that you can have as a bit of what we'd consider to be an enabler for any of you that have played FPL. Just that cheap player that enables you to get the bigger name guys in your squad. So, I like Matto, but Sam Constas, I'll tell you what, if he gets a go, everyone is buying him.
Oh, 100%. Yep, he's in.
Seriously talented. We came out last year and we said Nathan McSweeney's going to play Test cricket in the next couple of years, and he has a little bit earlier than we probably gave him credit. But Sam Constas is another guy that will play for Australia. It's just a matter of when, not if. I think for Sam Constas,
there's a couple of really good under 19 cricketers coming through at the moment, isn't there? You got your, on a lesser extent, Campbell Callaway for the Melbourne Stars. You got Constas here. You got Salzman, but also Beardman from Perth as well. If he gets a go, ladies and gentlemen, do yourselves a favour and tune in, because that guy, for someone who's only 19 years of age, he bowls rapid.
Yes, he will fit in like a glove, I think, over in the Perth fast bowling contingent. So, yeah, keep an eye on him. We'll be talking about him in the bowlers episode, I am sure. But, mate, that's about it for the batsman only, isn't it? I mean, look, we've talked about we've given our opinion on 20-odd players. It's just a tough position, really, and it's a position for me personally that I'm looking to get bowlers, all-rounders into my batsman slot. I'm more than happy to go with a bowler only because I know that the stats and the points lean towards the fielding team. So I feel like if you can get the death bowlers in your team, the guys that are locked in to bowl the death and get the junk at the end, then you can load up in your batsman slot with these guys that are also going to bowl, like your Tom Currans, your Bo Websters, your Glenn Maxwells, Will Sutherland if he's fit to bowl. Those kind of guys are the guys you want in your batsman slot.
For sure. I agree.
But you can get a free swing. So plenty of options there. Hopefully we've cleared up your mind a little bit. Maybe we've confused you a little bit more. If so, jump in the Patreon, become a subscriber, support the show, and get all the extra info that you need to win BBL Supercoach this year. Hit that subscribe, the like, the follow, the review, do all the things. Be a triple banger, as the horse would say. And we will see you on the next episode for the bowlers. We'll catch you then.
See you then.